it's time and attention. That's when the difference is people know when you have commission breath and they're making it about them.
Mm.
That's why the number one tip I give people right now is stop asking, what do you do? Because all people hear is, what can you do for me? So if you want to learn about somebody else, you say, hey, now that we can all travel again, now that the world's opening back up, where you can go next for your vacation? Because that'll tell you, what do they like to do? Are they adventurous? Do they want to lay on a beach? Do they want to go to a swim up bar? Do they want to go hiking in the mountains? You learn more about somebody because people plan their vacation, people show up to work. And if somebody's at a job that they hate and you just ask them what they do and they have to mentally go back to their job, they subconsciously dislike you at the exact same time. So learn to be different, learn to stand out, ask questions that make people think and tell you a little bit about who they are. And even if they have a flatter upper lip, I'm not saying, tell me about you. I'm saying, tell me where you want to go on vacation. And that can start a whole stream of conversations with people, right? Because people like to talk, but again, if they got a flatter upper lip, they don't like talking about themselves, but they'll tell you about this town in Italy that you should go visit because of dot, dot, dot that they experienced, because it's not giving away personal information. But if they could also turn around and say, I absolutely love hiking, it's what gives me joy, out in the wilderness, then they're telling you about them. But like me, I didn't search out the career I was in. I found my way into it by fluke chance, and I kept getting promoted. So it wasn't a dream job. It was a job that I just kept getting promoted in, and I stayed, but I didn't love it. So if you asked me about it, I would change it, and I would say, hey, I've been in and out of jail the last 21 years, right? Like as a joke. But a lot of people dislike their job. And so when you ask them about it, it has a negative connotation. And what people are missing is people don't feel seen and heard like we used to, because conversations used to take place in person, right? Now we don't answer the phone, we text. Somebody calls you, what do you need? Right? And that's why I love going to events. Like when we were talking before, I can't remember if we were recording yet or not, but what we talked about is what you do in your spare time tells you what you love. I love to go into conferences because I am a continuous learner. Now, what I used to be horrible about was going and taking notes and never doing a single thing with it. And Bradley, if you know Brad, huge fan of Brad. I'm in his Tuesday. It's called Closer School Live. And one time he said the simplest thing that changed my life, and that is you get what you tolerate. And I was like, holy crap. I'm in a relationship I'm unhappy in. I'm at a job I'm unhappy in, and I'm tolerating it. And that's what changed my life. So I tell Brad, I'm like, Brad, it's kind of your fault I got divorced. And it wasn't anything bad. But I realized I was unhappy, and that's no way to live life. And I was in two bad relationships. And I got out of one, and then I recently got out of the other one, right? Corporate America. And that's the thing is, most people just go with the flow because we've been taught, go to school, get a job, work till you're old, and then die. Right? Look, hey, at 67, you can retire and finally do what you want. Why do we have to wait till 67? But that's what we're taught to do because our parents were raised by their parents. So they went from agricultural farm life, right? There was nothing to do. Like, and I'm going to go off on a weird tangent, so feel free to ring me in here, or reel me in. I don't know that my parents, or sorry, grandparents knew love like we think of love today, because at the time you had to get married to get out of your parents' home. You didn't have 24-hour fitness. You didn't have the internet. You didn't have anything. You kind of found somebody you tolerated with. The radio went off at a certain time. And you went to bed. You didn't have these deep conversations and things like we expect now, everything to be perfect, because we live in a society that there is no such thing as a TV repair shop anymore. And now we have so many options that we think, oh, if something's not working, I'll just go find a new one. And I think people put time and effort in back then. And I think what our modern expectations of relationships are and what we should do for work, a lot of it is based on things of how things used to be. So it made perfect sense why there was a 9 to 5 work time when they were factories, and that's where jobs were. Farmers worked sun up to sundown. We can work 24 hours a day now, but we're still not encouraged to do it because corporations need employees, right? So it's an interesting time we live in. And because most people work for a corporation, myself included, right? I was a number and a cog for a very, very long time. When you're there, do you feel like a person or do you feel like your title? And that's why when you learn to analyze people's faces, you're telling them about them, not what their title is, not what company they work for. What does your face tell me about you? And that's what people are missing, is feeling seen and heard.